Look at this. If you're watching the video of Car Con Carne right now, you're seeing all kinds of cool, otherworldly, ethereal sunlight creeping through my blinds. This is Car Con Carne. It's a show I usually do in my car, although sometimes I reserve the right to do things virtually, like I'm doing for this particular episode. Before I bring on this episode's guest, I want to tell you about solar power as the sun is creeping into my room. Solar gives you the opportunity to lock in your energy rate. Imagine knowing what you're going to pay month after month, year after year for your electric bill. That's the promise, the thrill of switching to solar. Brent Sopel, who's been on this show, he's a former Chicago Blackhawk, helped Chicago win the Stanley Cup. He is going to help you get cost certainty for the first time ever. And it's through solar. Zero money down. Save money on your electric bill right after installation. There are tax credits a go-go. You can save close to 50% with the tax credits. 25-year warranty. It makes every bit of sense in the world to go to Sopel Solar, S-O-P-E-L, solar.com to learn more. It costs you nothing just to investigate how solar can transform your home. And then it'll cost, like I said, nothing out of pocket to switch to solar. Sopel, solar.com.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
Giving myself the latitude to keep on doing virtual things like this, which also enables my guests to drink things like wine as we talk.
You know what? If we were in the car, I'd figure out a way to get in there too. So you're good.
In a thermos, a sippy cup.
We'd figure it out.
Welcome to Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Alstyne, and Wine Rival, formerly Somm Madness, returns to Chicago on Thursday, the 22nd of September. It's happening at Venue West, 221 North Paulina, and the event will bring together the nation's sommelier community and wine aficionados for a blind tasting tournament. The creator of Wine Rival, Adam Sweders, is here. He's going to help me preview this year's event. Adam, this is a bracket tournament, but with wine.
Correct. So I'll give you a little background on how I came up with this idea. I was actually invited to do an event called Somm Slam by he's actually my co-host for my event now, John McDaniel. And I was really nervous. It was young in my sommelier career, and I started to second guess my selection for the evening. I just had to choose one wine. And so I called my mentor and I said, hey, I got this wine. I'm pretty sure it's good pairing for the dish. Am I right? Am I wrong? He's like, no, that's perfect. And then he asked me, he's like, why aren't you doing like cool events like this? He's like, you're such a creative guy, and like your ideas are always outlandish, and you should be doing stuff like this. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I got nothing, whatever. And then 2 weeks later, I took my daughter on a birthday trip to the Wisconsin Dells.
Love the Dells.
And yeah, it was amazing. And she was, I think, 4 at the time, maybe 5. And I was sitting there at the Wilderness Lodge on their little beach, and I was drinking a glass of wine, and something on the screen came up because March Madness was coming on. And I said, I looked at March Madness, I looked at my wine, and I said, that'd be interesting. I wonder if I could do blind tastings set up to March Madness. There's something here. So I was like, okay, let's wrap my head around this idea. I went back to my my restaurant group at the time, Dynamic Hospitality, and I said, hey, I got this crazy idea. I want to do this event. I want to do blind wine tasting, set it up like March Madness, and turn it into this big tournament kind of thing. And they looked at me and they're like, whatever, wine guy, just make sure it doesn't cost any money. And I was like, okay. And then I kind of put it together in maybe 6 weeks. And I remember the first day just being so nervous whether people would show up. And sure enough, they did. And it was the start of something special. And, we've grown it over the years. COVID kind of derailed it for a little bit, but now we're back and we have a massive, massive event now that is kind of taking over the wine community in Chicago. So that's kind of how it all started.
So I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So it's a bracket tournament. So 64 different wines in blind tastings.
No, so this is how it is. There's 64 competitors,
Got it. Okay.
and they're lined up like all the college basketball teams. So I line up personal people versus a college team, and they go head to head in a blind tasting competition per wine. So basically, the first round, they have a wine, they taste it, they have a little scorecard, they write down what they think it is, all the little notes that we have for the testing format, and whoever wins between that one competition, they move on to the next round. And same as the March Madness, it goes from 64 to 32. Once they get to the Sweet 16, they have to do 2 wines. So they do a white and a red. And then it's really interesting. Once we get to the final 4, we literally put a microphone on the table, and they have to do the same scoring card, but they have to do it on mic for the entire arena. This is hundreds of people who are around now. It's nerve-wracking, but they're playing for, $15,000 in cash prizes. So it's a big deal. And that's kind of how it goes. So it's set up just like the March Madness tournament, but it's just blind wine tasting. That's the whole concept, is to turn blind wine tasting into a sport, essentially.
And I love that. So what chance do mere mortals have against someone like you or your peers?
Yeah, glad you asked that. So year 1, the first time we did this, we had a woman named Diana Hawkins who won, and she was the head sommelier at Alinea. Chicago's is only 3-star Michelin restaurant in Chicago.
I was going to say that she's like a number 1 seed, right? I mean,
upper echelon, 100%. So it made sense, right? Year 2, I had a fine wine specialist from Breakthrough Beverage. So not a sommelier, but someone who sells to sommeliers. This gentleman ended up winning the tournament. So it was kind of cool because we had both sides of the industry in year 1 and year 2 win. Year 3, Domenico Alessi won. He's a full-time registered nurse.
Yes.
That's what he does for a living. And it was so perfect for the event because it's like, wow, I have all 3 pillars represented. I have somms, people who sell the somms, and I have consumers, the general public, which is like, I couldn't have written a Hollywood script better for that, because that's what I was really trying to do, is bring all the worlds together for a night of just excitement and fun, and something that everyone would remember forever.
Now, is registration to be part of that 64 bracket? Is it first come first served? Are you picky about who gets in, or
no? So there is a registration process. Because of COVID, it switched a little bit, especially now, because I usually have a huge out-of-town presence. I think last time before COVID canceled it, I had maybe 14 different markets flying in. I had over 30 competitors from out of state, literally out of country. I had people from Canada coming in. I had someone from South America coming in just to compete in this event. Because of inflation right now, people, it's like $1,000 just to get from San Francisco to Chicago. So a lot of people can't do it. So right now it's kind of a first come, first serve attitude going into this year. And all you have to do is buy your general admission ticket. It's $50. And then you just say, hey, I would like to compete. I would like to try to win the $10,000. And you're basically in at this point. But the $50 gets you so much more too, because while there's this really cool competition, there's also a 3-hour walk around tasting for consumers. There's 300 different wines, there's food, there's entertainment. I have one of my sponsors, Dow Vineyards. They're building an entire DJ booth in the center of the arena, and they're having, they're handing out their rosé, and it's kind of like a party that's going on while the competition's going on. And the arc of the event is amazing because it kind of starts, it's just like a sporting event. You literally start as like, wow, this is one big giant party. It's really fun. And then about halfway through, you're like, oh, there's something going on over here. Someone's going to win a lot of money, and there's only 16 people left. And then by the time it's the final 4, you can hear a pin drop.
I bet.
And it's all of a sudden like, wow, someone's seriously going to win. And the arc of the event it's so dramatic, and it's so exciting, and it's just really something really special. And it kind of stinks because the COVID's derailed it, so we're kind of rebuilding it up and getting it back to where it used to be. But the community and the consumers, they've really rallied again this year, and our turnout looks great, and we're excited to be back.
Well, again, Wine Rival. This is happening September 22nd. It's a Thursday night. Venue West, 221 North Paulina Street. I like the way you describe it and structure it. It is like a sporting event. If I were to walk in there with a giant foam finger, I'd be okay, right?
You'd be perfect. Literally, you're the kind of person we're looking for. But on the other side, if you're just there to taste fine wine and that's your thing, we're also looking for you. It's literally everyone. Like one of the things as a sommelier, I've been a sommelier for, oh gosh, 13, 14 years now. And one of the things that I've always been a fan of is just kind of breaking that barrier between the snobby, pretentious angle of that industry and just like, being you, just like whatever you want, whatever makes you happy with wine, that's what you should be doing. Like I always say the old joke, my mom, God bless her, she puts ice cubes in her red wine. You know what I mean? And I look at her, I'm like, don't ask me to do it with you, but if that's how you enjoy wine, God
Right.
bless. Just drink the wine. I'm happy for you, and that's what wine should be. Wine should be about community and bringing people together and creating conversations and memories and friendships that last forever. That's really what the wine means to me. So
I'm so glad you said that.
yeah,
Because to me, I mean, I was wondering if this was an event that would be appropriate for a rookie wine drinker.
100%.
To me, wine has always been elusive to me. I kind of had that mindset that, kind of like golf or Dungeons and Dragons. Once you pass a certain age, it's too late for you to learn it. Like you've aged past it. Like,
First of all, it's never too late to play Dungeons and Dragons, James. I mean, come on. I used to play as a high schooler. I haven't played in maybe 30 years, but if you wanted to play, I would be there next weekend. Like, yeah, let's do this again. I'm in. But it is, it's something that I don't know. It's something that everyone enjoys. And as far as I'm concerned, is if you're enjoying it, you're a part of it. You're part of the club. Let's come do this. Don't let stuffy people in my role make you think otherwise. Those are the worst kind of somms.
So you can show up to Wine Rival and that tasting, which sounds amazing. You can learn about it and in theory discover like what moves you. Like you have the space and
you can taste so many things, but I don't want to like also mislead you. Wine Rival is more of a fantastic, wonderful time. If you were going there to try to learn about wine or like play with the rocks in the soil or get like some sort of like little seminar from the people behind the booth about their wine, that's not this event. There's so many events like that. We don't need another one. We just don't need another one. We need a night to relax and have fun and celebrate wine and celebrate the community, celebrate Chicago, and just let go for an evening and watch something wonderful. That's what we need.
You said this is the most Chicago wine event imaginable. This is so Chicago.
Thank you. That's the whole goal, is just to make people smile. I always feel like I'm the greatest showman. Like if you ever seen that show, like the P.T. Barnum,
of course. And
the quote was like the most noblest act is to make someone laugh or to make someone smile. And when I hear that quote or I see that movie, it makes me think of me. And I don't pretend to be P.T. Barnum, but like that's my goal. Like it really is my goal, just to make people say, wow, that was an amazing evening. I spent $50 and I literally got $500 in value. Like I want to go next year and the year after and the year after. That's my goal.
So talk a little bit about the judges, the people who are,
I
mean, there's money on the line. This is competition. So who's
yeah. So this year we have from the Somm films. If you've ever seen the Somm documentaries on Netflix or Uncorked on, I think it was the Esquire channel, I forget. And he's very involved in production. His name is Dylan Proctor. He's doing work with Kevin Hart right now. He's a superstar in the wine industry. He's one of the judges, and he's coming in. He's with Fantasca Winery in Napa. And he's coming in to judge. We also have one of my favorites, Amelia Singer. So Amelia Singer is one of the star personalities on Hulu's The Wine Show. So if you go on Hulu, it's a wine show. It's a British-driven show. She's absolutely wonderful. I met her a couple of years ago, and she was set to be part of the event in 2020 until COVID happened. But she's super excited to come back. John McDaniel, personal friend, really great guy, former Food and Wine sommelier of the year. Huge kind of icon in the industry, very influential. I always joke with him, and it's like John knows more. He's forgotten more about wine than I've ever learned. That's like the Rolodex in his brain. He's very, very brilliant. And then we have, one of the, call it the heartfelt one, John Lalagana's. He was my first ever wine instructor. He was the mentor I mentioned earlier. He's the guy who taught me wine when I was 29, when I first started this whole adventure. And at the time, it was at the International Sommelier Guild, and I was like the jockey kid in the back. I had the hat backwards, and he looked at me like, "What is this guy doing here? Like, who is this dude?" And we just forged a friendship over the years, and my career kind of went up, and I created this thing, and I was like, you know what, you were always there for me, so I'm going to bring you with me. And
I love that.
Yep, I'm a very loyal guy, so he's always been a part of it. And those are kind of the star players, and we have some crazy good wines, some of the best wines you'll drink, on the planet, that are going to be there. So
that sounds awesome.
Should be good. And then we have this guy. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy named Jim Nance, the guy who announced the Super Bowl, and he announces the Masters, and he announces the NCAA March Madness. Yeah, he's doing the entire opening for us. He's literally doing the entire opening montage.
That's about as over the top as it can get.
It's, you know what? It's a crazy story. If you want to hear it, I'll tell it to you. But I met him in New York once, and it all just unfolded. And it's a really weird story how this happened. But yeah, he's doing the opening and the entire opening montage for Wine Rival 2022. So some pretty cool stuff.
So let's talk a little bit more about you. You talked about being that kid with the backwards baseball cap.
Mm-hmm.
Why wine? What sparked your interest, and what got you here?
Yeah, so I was an actor by trade. So I was doing a lot of I was at Second City doing shows for several years. I owned my own improv studio for a while, did a lot of voiceover work for several years. And in 2008, when the housing market bust, a lot of the ad agencies like DDB and Leo Burnett, they left town, and my work just kind of like plummeted, like many people in my industry. And kind of always to make ends meet, I worked in restaurants, right? As an actor, your income ebb and flows. Like, you can make a lot one month and then make nothing for 4 or 5 months.
Right.
And I started working at a wine bar in Glenview called Flight. It's no longer there, but it was a great wine bar. And I kind of started catching the wine bug. And my wife at the time, when I left there and I was kind of struggling for a bit, she's like, you really like wine. You should, pursue that. Maybe, do something there. And I was like, I didn't have anything better to do, honestly, at the time. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I went to the International Sommelier Guild. That's where I met John. And I was there for maybe 8-9 months. It's the best school ever. It's literally going to school for wine. You basically go 6-7 hours a week, and you drink wine and eat cheese and cured meats. It's pretty good. It's pretty, my old joke is like, your guidance counselor does not tell you about this. And it's pretty awesome. And right as I left, this is kind of how my whole wine industry started. I actually took a server job at the Hotel Felix. Mm-hmm. And I was just going to be a server. And they opened a new restaurant called Elite. And a gentleman named Anthony Fiore was the owner, and we were doing the wine training. I'm just a server at the time, and I was like really into it. And after this 2-hour training, he pulls me aside and he's like, "Hey, Adam, I noticed you were like really into wine there. Like, what? Tell me about that." I was like, "Oh, well, I just got my certifications from the International Sommelier Guild, and it's something I want to do." And he's like, "Really? You're a certified sommelier?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's brand new, but yeah." He's like, "Do you want to be our som?" And I was like, "Yeah." And that's how it happened. And then awesome. Like one thing led to another. And then down the line, I got really lucky. I was really underqualified for the job, but Joe Stonecrab hired me to be their head sommelier in Chicago, which is a top 10 grossing restaurant in the country. Sure. And then about a year and a half after that, Dynamic Hospitality pursued me to open their new steakhouse, Prime Provisions. And then slowly but surely, they gave me the entire portfolio of Dynamic restaurants, which was 7 or 8 restaurants at the time, including like Fabio Viviani's Siena Tavern and Bar Siena, Barrio, Bodega, Public House, a lot of local favorites. Mm-hmm. And during that course of time, that's when I came up with it was formerly called Somm Madness. Wine Rival was called Somm Madness. During COVID, I got a really friendly
I knew it. I
got a real friendly letter from the NCAA.
Oh, they're serious about that.
Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
let's just say through talks with lawyers, we just all agreed it was a time to change the name.
Yeah, freshen it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Pivot.
It was my idea for
Yeah.
sure. And so we decided to change the name, and everyone's happy now. Everyone's fine. We're
Mhm.
moving on. So it was formerly called Somm Madness. So if you actually Google it or anything, that's where a lot of the info comes from.
And
But
when I did
now it's Wine
radio,
Rival.
I was afraid to say March on the radio. Like I was afraid to mention football just for fear that it would be tangentially tied back.
They protect it harshly, which makes sense.
God.
But I remember the call with my attorney, and it was so great. And I was freaking out, James. Like I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And my attorney's like, dude, you have $1 billion entity coming after you. You've made it. You have something special. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. Be proud of yourself. And I was like, okay.
Okay, but seriously, I don't want to be homeless. Okay.
Yeah, totally. Like I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah. But it worked out.
In cases like that, they just want you to not do it. Like if you're cool and back off, that's the goal. Yeah.
Yes.
And Wine Rival, that's a name for the ages right there.
Yeah, and I think it incorporates a little, even the Somm Madness, I thought it was maybe like a little turn offish to a consumer, like the word Somm in there is like a little stuffy. So we came up with Wine Rival just like to maybe like appeal more to the masses and appeal to the consumers, which is honestly, like I love my sommelier community. I really do. And I love the industry. But what I love more is the consumer. Because when I go to bed at night, I know that I don't have anything unless people are drinking wine. And it's almost like an Oscar acceptance speech. Like without you, the fans, I couldn't do what I do. And it literally is the same with the way I think about this event. Without the consumer, without people drinking the wine and buying the wine, this doesn't happen. So
I'm so glad.
Very important.
I'm so glad you have that perspective. I'm so glad that is your angle, because again, to me, wine seems almost out of reach. Like I can't get there. It's like a gated community almost.
It's not. Here, let me give you context, James. So right now I'm drinking this Bonanno Chardonnay. You can get this for $16.99. So I'm a big fancy bigwig somm, and I'm drinking a $16.99 Chardonnay from Carneros, which is absolutely amazing. So, that's how laid back I am. And that's how laid back it should be. If it makes you happy, that's what you should do.
Amen. Okay. So this event, again, it's the most Chicago way to do a wine event. It is Wine Rival. It is happening end of September. It is Thursday, the 22nd of September. 64 people competing. Only one can make it out as the champion. There's money on the line. And as you said, like, you can walk around, taste wine. There'll be small bites there too. Yep.
Plenty of food, plenty of wine. You're going to go home pretty happy.
That's an event right there for $50. You said
50. It's like giving it away. I know it's a crazy deal.
I mean, it's a value $50. At any price, but $50 is
it's a good deal
for what
really
that is for sure.
Yes.
All right. It is the 4th annual Wine Rival. Adam, if people want to grab tickets, which they should, where do they go?
You can go to winerival.com or eventbrite.com and just type in Wine Rival. Anything will come up. That's the two best ways to get tickets.
Well, COVID be damned. I'm glad this is moving forward and growing and evolving. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you having me.
And that